Hello and welcome back to Brendan Moir's Playwright Corner, where I read plays, poems, or whatever's currently striking my fancy at the moment. Today we're going to be taking a bit of a detour from our W.B. Yeats marathon as we've been kind of going on and read some poems for the season. Today we're going to be reading some of Alfred Tennyson's poems. Tennyson was a United Kingdom playwright in the early 1800s all the way up until the late 1800s. And today we're going to be reading a collection of his entitled, at least in my edition, Juvenilia. Claribel. Where Claribel low lieth, the breeze pause and die, letting the rose leaves fall. But the solemn oak tree sigheth, thick-leaved ambrosial, with an ancient melody of an inward agony. Where Claribel low lieth. At eve the beetle boometh, antwert the thicket lone. At noon the wild bee hummeth about the mossed headstone. At midnight the moon cometh, and looketh down alone. Her song the lint white swelleth, the clear-voiced mavis dwelleth, the callow throstle lispeth, the slumberous wave outwelleth. The babbling runnel crispeth, the hollow grot replieth, where Claribel low lieth. Nothing will die. When will the stream be aweary of flowing under my eye? When will the wind be aweary of blowing over the sky? When will the clouds be aweary of fleeting? When will the heart be aweary of beating, and nature die? Never, oh never, nothing will die. The stream flows, the wind blows, the cloud fleets, the heart beats. Nothing will die. Nothing will die. All things will change through eternity. 'Tis the world's winter. Autumn and summer are gone long ago. Earth is dry to the center, but spring, a newcomer, a spring rich and strange, shall make the winds blow round and round, through and through, here and there, till the air and the ground shall be filled with life anew. The world was never made. It will change, but it will not fade. So let the wind range, for even and morn ever will be through eternity. Nothing was born. Nothing will die. All things will change. All things will die. Clearly the blue river chimes in its flowing under my eye. Warmly and broadly the south winds are blowing over the sky. One after another the white clouds are fleeting. Every heartless May morning in joyance is beating, full, merrily. Yet all things must die. The stream will cease to flow. The wind will cease to blow. The clouds will cease to fleet. The heart will cease to beat. For all things must die. All things must die. Spring will come nevermore. Oh, vanity! Death waits at the door. See, our friends are all forsaking the wine and the merrymaking. We are called. We must go. Lay low, very low. In the dark we must lie. The merry glees are still. The voice of the birds shall no more be heard, nor the wind on the hill. Oh, misery! Hark! Death is calling when I speak to ye. The jaw is falling, the red cheek paling, the strong limbs failing, ice with the warm blood mixing, the eyeballs fixing. 9 times goes the passing bell. Ye merry souls, farewell. The old earth had a birth, as all men know long ago, and the old earth must die. So let the warm winds range, and the blue wave beat the shore. For even and morn ye will never see through eternity. All things were born. Ye will come nevermore. for all things must die. Leonine Elegiacs. Low flowing breezes are roaming, the broad valley dimmed in the gloaming. Through the black-stemmed pines only the far river shines, creeping through blossomy rushes and bowers of rose-blowing bushes. Down by the poplar tall rivulets babble and fall. Barketh the shepherd dog cheerly, the grasshopper caroleth clearly. Deeply the wood dove coos, shrilly the owlet halloos. Winds creep, dews fall chilly, in her first sleep earth breathes stilly. Over the pools and the burn, the water gnats murmur and mourn. Sadly the far kine loweth, the glimmering water outfloweth. Twin peaks shadowed with pine slope to the dark high line. Low-throned Hesper is stayed between the two peaks, but the Naiad, throbbing in mild unrest, holds him beneath in her breast. The ancient poetess singeth that Hesperus all things bringeth, smoothing the wearied mind. Bring me my love, Rosalind. Thou comest morning or even. She cometh not morning or even. False-eyed Hesper unkind, where is my sleet Rosalind? Supposed confessions of a second-rate sensitive mind. O God, my God, have mercy now. I faint, I fall. Men say that thou didst die for me, for such as me, patient of ill and death and scorn, and that my sin was as a thorn among the thorns that girt thy brow, wounding thy soul. That even now, in this extremest misery of ignorance, I should require a sign, and if a bolt of fire would rive the slumberous summer moon, while I do pray to thee alone, think my belief would stronger grow. Is not my human pride brought low? The boastings of my spirit still, the joy I had in my free will, all cold and dead and corpse-like grown? And what is left to me but thou, and faith in thee? Men pass me by, Christians with happy countenances, and children all seem full of thee. And women smile with saint-like glances, like thine own mother's when she bowed above thee on that happy morn, when the angels spake to men aloud, and thou and peace to earth were born. Goodwill to me as well as all, I one of them, my brothers they, brothers in Christ, a world of peace and confidence, day after day. And trust and hope till things should cease, and then when heaven receive us all, how sweet to have a common faith, to hold a common scorn of death. And at a burial to hear the creaking chords which wound and eat into my human heart whene'er earth goes to earth with grief, not fear, with hopeful grief, were passing sweet. Thrice happy state again to be, the trustful infant on the knee, who let his rosy fingers play about his mother's neck and nose. Nothing beyond his mother's eye. They comfort him by night and day. They light his little life away. He hath no thought of coming woes. He hath no care of life or death. Scarce outward signs of joy arise, because the spirit of happiness and perfect rest so inward is, and loveth so his innocent heart, her temple and her place of birth, where she would ever wish to dwell, life of the fountain there beneath, its salient springs, and far apart, hating to wander out on earth, or breathe into the hollow air, whose chillness would make visible her subtle, warm, and golden breath, which mixing with the infant's blood fills him with beatitude. Oh, sure, if a special care of God to fortify from doubt, to arm in proof and guard about with triple mailed trust and clear delight, the infant's dawning year Would that my gloomed fancy were as thine, my mother, when with brows prompt on thy knees my hands upheld, in thine I listened to thy vows. For me outpoured in holiest prayer, for me unworthy, and beheld thy mild deep eyes unpraised that knew the beauty and repose of faith, and the clear spirit shining through. Oh, wherefore do we grow awry from roots which strike so deep? Why dare paths in the desert? Could not I bow myself down where thou hast knelt, to the earth until the ice would melt here, and I feel as thou hast felt? What devil had the heart to scathe flowers thou hadst reared to brush the dew from thine own lily when thy grave was deep, my mother, in the clay? Myself, is it thus? Myself had I so little love for thee? But why prevailed not thy pure prayers? Why pray to one who heeds not, who can save, but will not? Great in faith and strong against the grief of circumstance wert thou, and yet unheard? What if thou pleadest still, and seest me drive, thou utter dark, a full-sailed skiff, unpiloted I through the echoing dance of reboundant whirlwinds, stooping low upon the death not sunk? I know at matins and at evensong that thou, if thou wert yet alive, in deep and daily prayers would strive to reconcile me with thy God. Albeit my hope is grey and cold, at heart thou wouldst murmur still, bring this lamb back into thy fold, my Lord, if so it be thy will. Thou wouldst tell me I must brook the rod and chastisement of human pride, that pride the sin of devils stood betwixt me and the light of God. That hitherto I had defied and had rejected God, that grace would drop from his or brimming love, as manna in my wilderness. If I would pray that God would move and strike the hard rock, and thence, sweet in their utmost bitterness, would issue ears of penitence, would keep Green's hope alive. Alas, I think that pride hath now no place, no sojourn in me. I am void, dark, formless, utterly destroyed. Why not believe them? Why not yet anchor thy frailty there where man hath moored and rested? Ask the sea at midnight when the crisp slope waves after a tempest rib and fret the broad embassed beach, why he slumbers not like a mountain tarn, whereupon his ridges are not curls and ripples of an inland mere. Wherefore he moaneth thus, nor can draw down into his vexed pools all the blue heaven which hues and paves the other. I am too forlorn, too shaken, my own weakness fools my judgment, and my spirit whirls, moved with doubt and fear. Yet say I, in my morn of youth, the unsunned freshness of my strength, when I went forth in quest of truth, it is man's privilege to doubt, if so be that from doubt at length truth may stand forth unmoved of change, an image with profulgent brows, and perfect limbs, as from the storm of running fires and fluid range, of lawless airs at last stood out, this excellence and solid form of constant beauty. For the ox feeds in the herb and sleeps or fills the horned valleys all about, the hollows of the fringed hills in summer heats with placid lows, unfearing, till his own blood flows above his hoof. And in the flocks the lamb rejoiceth in the year, and raceth freely with his fear, an answer to his mother's calls from the flowered furrow, in a time of which he wots not run short pains through his warm heart, and then from whence he knows not on his light there falls a shadow, and his native slope, where he was wont to leap and climb, floats from his sick and filmed eyes, and something in the darkness draws his forehead earthward, and he dies. Shall man live thus, in joy and hope, as a young lamb who cannot dream, living but that he shall live on? Shall we not look into the laws of life and death and things that seem, all things that be, and analyze our double nature, and compare all creeds till we have found the one? If one there be, me, I fear, all may not doubt, but everywhere some must clasp idols. Yet my God, whom call I idol? Let thy dove shadow me over, and my sins be unremembered, and thy love enlighten me. Oh, teach me yet, somewhere before the heavy clod weighs on me, and the busy fret of that sharp-headed worm begins, in the gross blackness underneath. O weary life, O weary death, O spirit and heart made desolate, O damned vacillating state. The Kraken. Below the thunders of the upper deep, far, far beneath in the abysmal sea, his ancient, dreamless, uninvaded sleep, the Kraken sleepeth. Faintest sunlights flee about his shadowy sides. Above him swell huge sponges of millennial growth and height, and far away into the sickly light, from many a wondrous grot and secret cell, unnumbered and enormous polypi, winnow with great arms the slumbering green. There hath he lain for ages, and will lie, battening upon the huge sea worms in his sleep, until the latter fire shall heat the deep. Then once by man and angels to be seen, in roaring he shall rise, and on the surface die. Song. The winds, as at their hour of birth, leaning upon the rigid sea, breathe low around the rolling earth with mellow preludes. We are free. The streams, through many a lilied row, down caroling to the crisped sea, low tinkled with a bell-like flow, atween the blossoms. We are free. Lillian. 1. Airy fairy Lillian, flitting fairy Lillian, when I ask her if she loves me, clasps her tiny hands above me, laughing all she can. She'll not tell me if she loves me. Cruel little Lillian. 2. When my passion seeks pleasance in love's sighs, she looks through and through me, thoroughly to undo me, smiling never speaks. So innocent arch, so cunning simple, from beneath her gathered wimple, glancing with black-beaded eyes, to the lightning laughter's dimple, the baby roses in her cheeks. Then away she flies. 3. Prithee weep, May Lillian. Gaiety without eclipse wearieth me, May Lillian. Through my very heart it thrilleth, when from crimson threaded lips silver treble laughter trilleth. Prithee weep, May Lillian. 4. Praying all I can, if prayers will not hush thee, airy Lillian, like a rose leaf I will crush thee, fairy Lillian. Isabel. 1. Eyes not down-dropped, nor over-bright, but fed with the clear-pointed flame of chastity, clear, without heat, undying, tended by pure vestal thoughts in the translucent vein of her still spirit, locks not wide dispread, Madonna-wise on either side her head, sweet lips whereupon perpetually did reign the summer calm of golden charity, where fixed shadows of thy fixed mood, reverend Isabel, the crown and head, the stately flower of female fortitude, of perfect wifehood, and pure lowlihead. 2. The intuitive decision of a bright and thorough-edged intellect to part, error from crime, a prudence to withhold, the laws of marriage charactered in gold, upon the blanched tablets of her heart. A love still burning upward, giving light, to read those laws in accent very low, in blandishment, but a most silver flow of subtle-paced counsel in distress. right to the heart and brain, though undescried, winning its way with extreme gentleness. Through all the outworks of suspicious pride, a courage to endure and to obey, a hate of gossip, parlance, and of sway, crowned Isabel through all her placid life, the queen of marriage, a most perfect wife. 3. The mellowed reflex of a winter moon, a clear stream flowing with a muddy one, till in its onward current it absorbs, with swifter movement and in a purer light, the vexed eddies of its wayward brother. A leaning and upbearing parasite, clothing the stem, which else had fallen quite, with clustered flower bells and ambrosial orbs, of rich fruit bunches leaning on each other. Shadow forth the world hath not another, though all her fairest forms are types of these, and thou of God in thy great charity of such a finished, chastened purity. Mariana. Mariana in the moated grange, measure for measure. With blackest moss the flower pots were thickly crusted, one and all. The rusted nails fell from the knots that held the pair to the gable wall. The broken sheds looked sad and strange, unlifted was the clinking latch. Weeded and worn the ancient thatch upon the lonely moated grange. She only said, "My life is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." Her tears fell with the dews at e'en, her tears fell ere the dews were dried. She could not look on the sweet heaven, either at morn or eventide. After the flitting of the bats, when thickest dark did trance the sky, she drew her casement curtain by, and glanced athwart the glooming flats. She only said, "The night is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." Upon the middle of the night, waking she heard the night fowl crow. The cock sung out an hour ere light, from the dark fen the oxen's low came to her, without hope of change. In sleep she seemed to walk forlorn, till cold winds woke the grey-eyed morn about the lonely moated grange. She only said, "The day is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." About a stone cast from the wall, a sluice with blackened waters slept, and o'er it many round and small the clustered marish mosses crept. Hard by poplar shook alway, all silver green and gnarled bark, for leagues no other tree did mark the level waste, the rounding grey. She only said, "My life is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." And ever when the moon was low, and the shrill winds were up and away, in the white curtain to and fro she saw the gusty shadows sway. But when the moon was very low, and wild winds bound within their cell, the shadow of the poplar fell upon her bed, across her brow. She only said, "The night is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." All day within the dreamy house, the doors upon their hinges creaked. The blue fly sung in the pane, the mouse behind the mouldering wainscot shrieked. Or from the crevice peered about, old faces glimmered through the doors. Old footsteps trod the upper floors, old voices called her from without. She only said, "My life is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." The sparrows chirrup on the roof, the slow clock ticking and the sound, which to the wooing wind aloof the poplar made, did all confound her sense. But most she loathed the hour, when the thick modded sunbeam lay, and toward the chambers and the day was sloping towards his western bower. Then she said, "I am very dreary, he will not come," she said. She wept, "I am aweary. Oh God, that I were dead." Two. 1. Clear-headed friend whose joyful scorn, edged with sharp laughter, cuts atwain the knots that tangle human creeds, the wounding cords that bind and strain the heart until it bleeds. Ray-fringed eyelids of the morn, roof not a glance so keen as thine. If aught of prophecy be mine, thou wilt not live in vain. 2. Low cowering shall the sophist sit. Falsehood shall bear her plated brow. Fair front truth shall droop not now with shrilling shafts of subtle wit. Nor martyr flames, nor trenchant swords can do away that ancient lie. A gentler death shall falsehood die, shot through and through with cunning words. 3. Weak truth a-leaning to her crutch, wan wasted truth in her utmost need, thy kingly intellect shall feed until she be an athlete bold, and weary with a finger's touch those writhing limbs of lightning speed, like that strange angel which of old, until the breaking of the light, wrestled with wandering Israel past Yabok brook the livelong night, and heaven's maze sign stood still in the dim tract of Penuel. Madeline. 1. Thou art not steeped in golden languors, no trance summer calm is thine, ever varying Madeline. Through light and shadow thou dost range sudden glances sweet and strange, delicious spites and darling angers, and airy forms of flitting change. 2. Smiling, frowning evermore, thou art perfect in love lore. Revealings deep and clear are thine, of wealthy smiles, but who may know whether smile or frown be fleeter, whether smile or frown be sweeter? Who may know? Frowns perfect sweet along the brow, light glooming over eyes divine, like little clouds sun-fringed are thine, ever varying Madeline. Thy smile and frown are not aloof from one another, each to each his dearest brother. Hues of the silken, sheeny woof momentarily shot into each other. All mystery is thine. Smiling, frowning evermore, thou art perfect in love lore, ever varying Madeline. 3. A subtle, sudden flame, by veering passion fanned, about thee breaks and dances when I would kiss thy hand. The flush of angered shame o'erthrows thy calmer glances, and o'er black brows drops down a sudden curved frown. But when I turn away, thou, willing me to stay, wooest not nor vainly wranglest, but looking fixedly the while, all my bounding heart entanglest in a golden netted smile. Then in madness and in bliss, if my lips should dare to kiss thy taper fingers amorously, again thou blushest angrily, and o'er black brows drops down a sudden curved frown. Song. The Owl. When cats run home and light is come, and dew is cold upon the ground, and the far-off stream is dumb, and the whirling sails go round, and the whirling sails go round, alone and warming his 5 wits, the white owl in the belfry sits. When merry milkmaids click the latch, and rarely smells the new morn hay, and the cock hath sung beneath the thatch twice or thrice his roundelay, alone and warming his 5 wits, the white owl in the belfry sits. Second song. To the same. Thy to wits are lulled, I wot, thy to woos of yesternight, which upon the dark afloat, so took echo with delight, that her voice, untuneful grown, wears all day a fainter tone. I would mock thy chaunt anew, but I cannot mimic it. Not a whit of thy to woo, thee to woo to thy to wit, thee to woo to thy to wit, with a lengthened loud halloo, to woo to wit, to woo ooh ooh. Recollections of the Arabian Nights. When the breeze of a joyful dawn blew free in the silken sail of infancy, the tide of time flowed back with me, the forward-flowing tide of time. And many a sheeny summer morn, adown the Tigris I was born, by Baghdad shrines of fretted gold, high-walled gardens green and old, true Mussulman was I and sworn, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid, A night my shallop rustling through the low and bloomed foliage drove, the fragrant glistening deeps and clove the citron shadows in the blue. By garden porches, on the brim, the costly doors flung open wide, gold glittering through lamplight dim, and broidered sofas on each side. In sooth, it was a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Often where clean-stemmed platans guard, the outlet did I turn away, the boat head down a broad canal from the main river sluiced, where all the sloping of the moonlight sward was damask work and deep inlay, of braided blooms unmown which crept adown to where the water slept. A goodly place, a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. A motion from the river won, ridge the smooth level bearing on my shallop through the star-strown calm, until another night in night I entered. From the clear light, embowered vaults of pillars palm, imprisoning sweets which, as they clomb heavenward, were stayed beneath the dome of hollow boughs, a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Still onward, and the clear canal is rounded as clear a lake. From the green rivage many a fall of diamond rillets musical, through little crystal arches low, down from the central fountains flow, fallen silver chiming seem to shake the sparkling fence beneath the prow. A goodly place, a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Above through many a bowery turn, a walk with vari-coloured shells, wandered, ingrained, on either side, all round about the fragrant marge, from fluted vase and brazen urn in order, eastern flowers large, some dropping low their crimson bells, half closed and others studded wide. With discs and tiaras fed the time with odour in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Far off, and where the lemon grove in closest coverture upsprung, the living airs of middle night died round the bulbul as he sung. Not he, but something which possessed the darkness of the world delight. Life, anguish, death, immortal love, ceasing not mingled unrepressed. Apart from place, withholding time, but flattering the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Black the garden bowers and grots slumbered, the solemn palms were ranged, above unwooed of summer wind. A sudden splendour from behind flushed all the leaves with rich gold green, and flowing rapidly between their interspaces counterchanged the level lake with diamond plots of dark and bright, a lovely time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Dark blue the deep sphere overhead, distinct with vivid stars inlaid, grew darker from that under flame, so leaping lightly from the boat, with silver anchor left afloat, in marvel whence that glory came upon me, as in sleep I sank, in cool soft turf upon the bank, entranced with that place and time, so worthy of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Thence through the garden I was drawn, a realm of pleasance, many a mound, and many a shadow-checkered lawn, full of the city's stilly sound, and deep myrrh thickets blowing round, the stately cedar tamarisks, thick rosaries of scented thorn, tall orient shrubs, and obelisks, graven with emblems of the time, in honour of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. With dazed visions unawares, from the long alley's lattice shade, emerged I came upon the great pavilion of the Caliphate. Right to the carven cedern doors, flung inward over spangled floors, broad-based flights of marble stairs ran up with golden balustrade, after the fashion of the time, and humour of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. The 80 windows all alight, as with the quintessence of flame, a million tapers flaring bright, from twisted silvers looked to shame, the hollow vaulted dark and streamed upon the moon domes aloof, in inmost Baghdad, till there seemed hundreds of crescents on the roof. of night new risen, that marvellous time to celebrate the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Then stole I up, and trancedly gazed on the Persian girl alone, serene with argent-lidded eyes, amorous, and lashes like rays of darkness, and a brow of pearl, tressed with redolent ebony, in many a dark, delicious curl flowing beneath her rose-hued zone. The sweetest lady of the time, well worthy of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. 6 columns, 3 on either side, pure silver underpropped a rich throne of the massive ore, from which down drooped in many a floating fold, and garland and diapered with inwrought flowers, a cloth of gold. Thereon his deep eye laughter stirred, with merriment of kingly pride. Sole star of all that place and time, I saw him in his golden prime, the good Harun al-Rashid.
Ode to Memory. Addressed to 1. Thou who stealest fire from the fountains of the past, to glorify the present, O haste, visit my low desire. Strengthen me, enlighten me, I faint in this obscurity, thou dewy dawn of memory. 2. Come not as thou camest of late, flinging the gloom of yesternight on the white day, but robed in softened light of orient state. Whilome thou camest with the morning mist, even as a maid whose stately brow the dew-impearled winds of dawn have kissed, when she, as thou, stays her floating locks the lovely freight of overflowing blooms and earliest shoots of orient green, giving safe pledge of fruits, which in wintertide shall star the black earth with brilliance rare. Whilome thou camest with the morning mist, and with the evening cloud, showering thy gleaned wealth into my open breast, peerless flowers which the rudest wind never grow sere, when rooted in the garden of the mind, because they are the earliest of the year, nor was the night thy shroud. In sweet dreams softer than unbroken rest, thou leddest by the hand thine infant hope. The eddying of her garments caught of thee the light of thy great presence, and the cope of the half-attained futurity, though deep, not fathomless, was cloven with the million stars which tremble o'er the deep minds of dauntless infancy. Small thought was there of life's distress, for she deemed no mist of earth could dull those spirit-thrilling eyes so keen and beautiful. Sure she was nigher to heaven's spheres, listening to the lordly music flowing from the illimitable ears. O strengthen me, enlighten me, I faint in this obscurity, thou dewy dawn of memory. 4. Come forth, I charge thee, arise, thou of the many tongues, the myriad eyes. Thou comest not with the shows of flaunting vines unto mine inner eye. Divinest memory! Thou wert not nursed by the waterfall, which ever sounds and shines, a pillar of white light upon the wall of perfect cliffs, aloof descried. Come from the woods that belt the grey hillside, the 7 elms, the poplars 4, that stand beside my father's door, and chiefly from the brook that loves to purl o'er matted crest and ribbed sand, or dimple in the dark of rusty coves, drawing into his narrow earthly urn in every elbow and turn the filtered tribute of the rough woodland. O hither lead thy feet! Pour round mine ears the livelong bleat of the thick-fleeced sheep from wattled folds upon the rigid wolds, when the first matin song hath wakened loud over the dark dewy earth forlorn. What time the amber morn forth gushes from beneath a low-hung cloud. 5. Large dowries doth the raptured eye to the spirit present, when first she is wed, and like a bride of old in triumph led, with music and sweet showers of festal flowers, upon the dwelling she must sway. Well, hast thou done, great artist memory? in setting round thy first experiment with royal framework of wrought gold? Needs must thou dearly love thy first essay, and foremost in thy various gallery place it where sweetest sunlight falls upon the storied walls. For the discovery and newness of thine art so please thee that all which thou hast drawn of fairest or boldest since but lightly weighs with thee unto the love thou bearest, the firstborn of thy genius. Artist-like, ever retiring thou dost gaze on the primer labour of thine early days. No matter what the sketch might be, whether the high field or the bushless pike or even a sand-built ridge of heaped hills that mound the sea, overblown with murmurs harsh, or even a lowly cottage whence we see stretched wide and wild the waste enormous marsh, where from the frequent bridge, like emblems of infinity, the trenched waters run from sky to sky, or a garden bowered close with plated alleys of the trailing rose, long alleys falling down to twilight grots, or opening upon level plots of crowned lilies standing near purple-spiked lavender. Whither in after life retired, from brawling storms, from weary wind, with youthful fancy re-inspired, we may hold converse with all forms of the many-sided mind, and those whom passion hath not blinded, subtle-thoughted, myriad-minded. My friend, with you to live alone were how much better than to own a crown, a sceptre, and a throne. Oh, strengthen me, enlighten me, I faint in this obscurity. How dewy dawn of memory. Song 1. A spirit haunts the year's last hours, dwelling amid these yellowing bowers. To himself he talks. For at eventide, listening earnestly, at his work you may hear him sob and sigh in the walks. Earthward he boweth the heavy stalks of the mouldering flowers. Heavy hangs the broad sunflower o'er its grave, the earth so chilly. Heavenly hangs the hollyhock. Heavenly hangs the tiger lily. 2. The air is damp and hushed and close, as a sick man's room when he taketh repose, an hour before death. My very heart faints and my whole soul grieves at the moist rich smell of the rotting leaves and the breath of the fading edges of a box beneath and the year's last rose. Heavily hangs the broad sunflower o'er its grave, the earth so chilly. Heavily hangs the hollyhock. Heavily hangs the tiger lily. A character. With a half glance upon the sky at night, he said, "The wanderings of this most intricate universe teach me the nothingness of things." Yet could not all creation pierce beyond the bottom of his eye. He spake of beauty, that the dull saw no divinity in grass, life in dead stones, or spirit in air. Then looking as 'twere in a glass, he smoothed his chin and sleeked his hair, and said the earth was beautiful. He spake of virtue, not the gods more purely when they wished to charm, Pallas and Juno sitting by, and with a sweeping of the arm, and a lackluster dead blue eye, devolved his rounded periods. Most delicately, hour by hour, he canvassed human mysteries, and trod on silk, as if the winds blew his own praises in his eyes, and stood aloof from other minds in importance of fancied power. With lips depressed as he were meek, himself unto himself he sold. Upon himself did feed, quiet, dispassionate, and cold, and other than his form of creed, with chiselled features clear and sleek. The Poet. The poet in a garden clime was born, with gold stars above, dowered with the hate of hate, the scorn of scorn, the love of love. He saw through life and death, through good and ill. He saw through his own soul the marvel of the everlasting will, an open scroll. Before him lay with echoing feet, he threaded the secretest walks of fame. The viewless arrows of his thoughts were headed and winged with flame. Like Indian reeds blown from his silver tongue, and so fierce a flight, from Calpe unto Caucasus they sung, filling with light. And vagrant melodies the winds which bore them earthward till they lit. Then, like the arrow seeds of the field flower, the fruitful wit, cleaving took root, and spreading forth anew, where'er they fell, behold, like to the mother plant in semblance grew, a flower all gold. And bravely furnished all abroad to fling the winged shafts of truth, to throng with stately blooms the breathing spring of hope and youth. So many minds did gird their orbs with beams, though one did fling the fire. Heaven flowed upon the soul in many dreams of high desire. Thus truth was multiplied on truth, the world like one great garden showed, and through the wreaths of the floating dark upcurled rare sunrise followed. And freedom reared in that August sunrise her beautiful bold brow, when rights and forms before his burning eyes melted like snow. There was no blood sunned by those orient skies, but round about the circles of the globes of her keen eyes. And in her raiment hem was traced in flame wisdom, a name to shake. All evil dreams of power a sacred name. And when she spake, her words did gather thunder as they ran, and as the lightning to the thunder, which follows it, riveting the spirit of man, making earth wonder. So was their meaning in words, no sword or wrath her right arm whirled, but one poor poet's scroll, and with his word she shook the world. The poet's mind. Vex not thou the poet's mind with thy shallow wit. Vex not thou the poet's mind, for thou canst not fathom it. Clear and bright it shall be forever, flowing like a crystal river, bright as light and clear as wind. 2. Dark-browed sophist, come not anear. All the place is holy ground. Hollow smile and frozen sneer, come not here. Holy water will I pour into every spicy flower. Of the laurel shrubs that hedge it around, the flowers would faint at your cruel cheer. In your eye there is death. There is frost in your breath, which would blight the plants. Where you stand you cannot hear, from the groves within, the wild bird's din. In the heart of the garden the merry bird chants. It would fall to the ground if you came in. In the middle leaps a fountain, like sheet lightning, ever brightening with a low melodious thunder. All day and all night it is ever drawn from the brain of the purple mountain, which stands in the distance yonder. It springs on a level of bowery lawn, and the mountain draws it from the heaven above, and it sings a song of undying love. And yet, though its voice be so clear and full, you never would hear it. Your ears are so dull. So keep where you are. You are foul with sin. I would shrink to the earth if you came in. The sea fairies. Slow sailed the weary mariners and saw, betwixt the green brink and the running foam, sweet faces, rounded arms, and bosoms pressed to little harps of gold. And while they mused, whispering to each other half in fear, shrill music reached them on the middle sea. Whither away, whither away, whither away, fly no more. Whither away from the high green field and the happy, blossoming shore. Day and night to the billow the fountain calls, down shower the gambolling waterfalls, from wandering over the lea. Out of the live green heart of the dells they freshen the silvery crimson shales, and thick with white bells the clover hill swells high over the full-toned sea. Oh, hither, come hither and furl your sails. Come hither to me and to me. Hither, come hither and frolic and play. Here it is only the mew that wails. We will sing to you all the day. Mariner, mariner, furl your sails. For here are the blissful downs and dales, and merrily, merrily carol the gales, and the spangled dances in bight and bay, and the rainbow forms and flies on the land over the islands free. And the rainbow lives in the curve of the sand. Hither, come hither, and see. And the rainbow hangs on the poising wave, and sweet is the colour of cove and cave, and sweet shall your welcome be. Oh, hither, come hither, and be our lords, for merry brides are we. We will kiss sweet kisses and speak sweet words. Oh, listen, your eyes shall glisten with pleasure and love and jubilee. Oh, listen, your eyes shall glisten when the sharp, clear twang of the golden chords runs up the rigid sea. Who can light on as happy a shore? All the world over, whither away? Listen and stay. Mariner, mariner, fly no more. The Deserted House. 1. Life and thought have gone away, side by side, leaving the door and windows wide, careless tenants they. 2. All within is dark as night. In the windows is no light, and no murmur at the door, so frequent on its hinge before. 3. Close the door. The shutters close, or through the windows we shall see the nakedness and vacancy of the dark, deserted house. 4. Come away. No more of mirth is there a merry-making sound. The house was built of the earth, and shall fall again to ground. 5. Come away. For life and thought here no longer dwell, but in a city glorious. A great and distant city have bought a mansion incorruptible. Oh, would they could have stayed with us. The Dying Swan. 1. The plain was grassy, wild and bare, wide, wild, and open to the air, which had built up everywhere an under roof of doleful grey. With an inner voice the river ran, adown it floated a dying swan, and loudly did lament. It was the middle of the day. Ever the weary wind went on, and took the reed tops as it went. 2. Some blue peaks in the distance rose, and white against the cold white sky shone out their crowning snows. One willow over the river wept, and shook the wave as the wind did sigh. Above in the wind was the swallow, chasing itself at its own wild will, and far through the marsh green and still the tangled water courses slept, shut over with purple and green and yellow. 3. The wild swan's death hymn took the soul of that waste place with joy, hidden in sorrow. At first to the ear the warble was low and full and clear, and floating about the under sky, prevailing in weakness the coronach stole, sometimes afar and sometimes anear, but anon her awful jubilant voice, with a magic strange and manifold, flowed forth on a carol free and bold, as when a mighty people rejoice, with shawms and with cymbals and harps of gold, and the tumult of their acclaim is rolled through the open gates of the city afar to the shepherd who watcheth the evening star. And creeping mosses and clambering weeds, and the willow branches hoar and dank, with the wavy smells of the sowing reeds, and the wave-worn horns of the echoing bank, and the silvery marish flowers that throng the desolate creeks and pools among, were flooded over with eddying song. A dirge. 1. Now it is done, thy long day's work. Fold thy palms across thy breast. Fold thine arms, turn to thy rest. Let them rave. Shadows of the silver birk, sweep the green that folds thy grave. Let them rave. 2. Thee no carketh care nor slander. Nothing but the small cold worm fretteth thine enshrouded form. Let them rave. Light and shower ever wander o'er the green that folds thy grave. Let them rave. 3. Thou wilt not turn upon thy bed. Chaunteth not the brooding bee sweeter tones than calumny? Let them rave. Thou wilt never raise thine head from the green that folds thy grave. Let them rave. 4. Crocodiles wept tears for thee. The woodbine and egalitaire drip sweeter dews than traitor's tear. Let them rave. Rain makes music in the tree, o'er the green that folds thy grave. Let them rave. 5. Round thee blow self-pleached deep, bramble roses faint and pale, and long purples of the dale. Let them rave. These in every shower creep, through the green that folds thy grave. Let them rave. 6. The gold-eyed kingcups fine, the frail bluebell peereth over, rare broidery of the purple clover. Let them rave. Kings have no such couch as thine, as the green that folds thy grave. Let them rave. 7. Wild words wander here and there. God's great gift of speech abused makes thy memory confused. But let them rave. The balm cricket's carols clear. In the green that folds thy grave. Let them rave. Love and Death. What time the mighty moon was gathering light, Love paced the thymy plots of paradise, and all about him rolled his lustrous eyes. And when turning round Acacia full in view, Death, walking all alone beneath a yew, and talking to himself, first met his sight. "You must be gone," said Death. "These walks are mine." Love wept, and spread his sheeny vans for flight. Yet ere he parted said, "This hour is thine. Thou art the shadow of life, and as the tree stands in the sun and shadows all beneath, so in the light of great eternity, life eminent creates the shade of death. The shadow passeth when the tree shall fall, but I shall reign forever over all." The Ballad of Oriana. My heart is wasted with my woe, Oriana. There is no rest for me below, Oriana. When the long-dun wolds are ribbed with snow, and loud the northern whirlwinds blow, Oriana, alone I wander to and fro, Oriana. Ere the light on dark was growing, Oriana. At midnight the cock was crowing, Oriana. Winds were blowing, waters flowing, we heard the steeds of battle going, Oriana. Aloud the hollow bugle blowing, Oriana. In the yewed blackest night, Oriana, ere I rode into the fight, Oriana, while blissful tears blinded my sight by starshine and by moonlight, Oriana, I to thee my troth did plight, Oriana. She stood upon the castle wall, Oriana. She watched my crest among them all, Oriana. She saw me fight, she heard me call, when forth there stepped a foreman tall, Oriana, atween me and the castle wall, Oriana. The bitter arrow went aside, Oriana. The false arrow went aside, Oriana. The damned arrow glanced aside and pierced thy heart, my love, my bride, Oriana. my heart, my life, my love, my bride. Oriana. Oh, narrow, narrow was the space, Oriana. Loud, loud rung out the bugle's brays, Oriana. Oh, deathful stabs were dealt apace, the battle deepened in its place, Oriana. But I was down upon my face, Oriana. They should have stabbed me where I lay, Oriana. How could I rise and come away, Oriana? How could I look upon the day? They should have stabbed me where I lay, Oriana. They should have drawn me into clay, Oriana. Oh, breaking heart that will not break. Oh, pale, pale face so sweet and meek, Oriana. Thou smilest, but thou dost not speak. And then the tears run down my cheek, Oriana. What wantest thou? Whom dost thou seek, Oriana? I cry aloud. None hear my cries, Oriana. Thou comest between me and the skies, Oriana. I feel the tears of blood arise upon my heart unto thy eyes, Oriana. Within thy heart my arrow lies, Oriana. O cursed hand, O cursed blow, Oriana. O happy thou that liest low, Oriana. All night the silence seems to flow beside me and my utter woe, Oriana. A weary, weary way I go, Oriana. When norland winds pipe down the sea, Oriana, I walk. I dare not think of thee, Oriana. Thou liest beneath the greenwood tree. I dare not die and come to thee, Mariana. I hear the roaring of the sea, Mariana. Circumstance. 2 children in 2 neighbor villages, playing mad pranks along the heavy lease. 2 strangers, meeting at a festival. 2 lovers, whispering by an orchard wall. 2 lives bound fast in one with golden ease. 2 graves, grass green beside a grey church tower, washed with still rains and daisy blossomed. 2 children in one hamlet born and bred. So runs the round of life from hour to hour. The Merman. 1. Who would be a merman bold, sitting alone, singing alone under the sea with a crown of gold on a throne? 2. I would be a merman bold. I would sit and sing the whole of the day. I would fill the sea halls with the voice of power. But at night I would roam abroad and play with the mermaids in and out of the rocks, dressing their hair with the white sea flower, and holding them back by their flowing locks. I would kiss them often under the sea, and kiss them again till they kissed me, laughingly, laughingly. And then we would wander away, away, to the pale green sea groves straight and high, chasing each other merrily. 3. There would be neither moon nor star, but the wave would make music above us far, low thunder and light in the magic night, neither moon nor star. We would call aloud in the dreamy dells, call to each other and whoop and cry all night merrily, merrily. They would pelt me with the starry spangles and shells, laughing and clapping their hands between, all night merrily, merrily. but I would throw to them back in mine turkis and agate and almondine. Then leaping out upon them unseen, I would kiss them often under the sea, and kiss them again till they kissed me laughingly, laughingly. Oh, what a happy life were mine, under the hollow-hung ocean green, softer than moss beds under the sea. We would live merrily, merrily. The Mermaid. 1. Who would be a mermaid fair, singing alone, combing her hair, under the sea in a golden curl with a comb of pearl on a throne? 2. I would be a mermaid fair. I would sing to myself the whole of the day. With a comb of pearl I would comb my hair, and still as I combed I would sing and say, Who is it loves me? Who loves not me? I would comb my hair till my ringlets would fall, low adown, from under my starry sea-bud crown, low adown and around. And I should look like a fountain of gold, springing alone with a shrill inner sound, over the throne in the midst of the hall. Till that green sea snake under the sea, from his coiled sleeps in the central deeps, would slowly trail himself sevenfold, round the hall where I sate, and look in at the gate, with his large calm eyes for love of me. And all the mermen under the sea would feel their immortality die in their hearts for the love of me. 3. But at night I would wander away, away. I would fling on each side my low-flowing locks, and lightly vault from the throne and play with the mermen in and out of the rocks. We would run to and fro, and hide and seek on the broad sea wolds and the crimson shells, whose silvery spikes are nighest the sea. But if any came near, I would call and shriek, and adown the steep like a wave I would leap, from the diamond ledges that jut from the dells, for I would not be kissed by all who would list of the bold merry mermen under the sea. They would sue me and woo me and flatter me in the purple twilights under the sea, but the king of them all would carry me, woo me and win me and marry me in the branching jaspers under the sea. Then all the dry-pied things that be in the hueless mosses under the sea would curl round my silver feet silently, all looking up for the love of me. And if I should carol aloud from aloft, all things that are forked and horned and soft would lean out from the hollow sphere of the sea, all looking down for the love of me. Adeline. 1. Mystery of mysteries. Faintly smiling Adeline, scarce of earth nor all divine, nor unhappy nor at rest, but beyond expression fair, with thy floating flaxen hair. Thy rose lips and full blue eyes take the heart from out my breast. Wherefore those dim looks of thine, shadowy, dreaming Adeline? 2. Whence that airy bloom of thine, like a lily which the sun looks through in his sad decline, and a rosebush leans upon? Thou that faintly smilest still, as a naiad in a well, looking at the set of day, or a phantom 2 hours old of a maiden passed away. Ere the placid lips be cold, wherefore those faint smiles of thine, spiritual Adeline? 3. What hope or fear or joy is thine who talketh with thee, Adeline? For sure thou art not all alone. Do beating hearts of salient springs keep measure with thine own? Hast thou heard the butterflies, what they say betwixt their wings? Or in the stillest evenings, with what voice the violet woos to his heart the silver dews? Or when little airs arise, how the merry bluebell rings to the mosses underneath? Hast thou looked upon the breath of the lilies at sunrise? Wherefore that faint smile of thine, shadowy, dreaming Adeline? 4. Some honey converse feeds thy mind. Some spirit of a crimson rose, in love with thee forgets to close his curtains, wasting odorous sighs. All night long in darkness blind, what aileth thee? Whom waitest thou, with thy softened shadowed brow, and those dew-lit eyes of thine, thou faint smiler, Adeline. 5. Lov'st thou the doleful wind, when thou gazest at the skies? Doth the low-tongued Orient wander from the side of the morn, dripping with the Sabine spice on thy pillow lowly bent, with melodious airs lovelorn, breathing light against thy face, while his locks a-drooping twined, round thy neck in subtle ring make a carcanet of rays? And ye talk together still, in the language wherewith in spring letters cowslips on the hill. Hence that look and smile of thine, spiritual Adeline. Margaret. O sweet pale Margaret, O rare pale Margaret, what lit your eyes with tearful power, like a moonlight on a falling shower? Who lent you, love, your mortal dower of pensive thought and aspect pale, your melancholy sweet and frail as perfume of the cuckoo flower? From the westward winding flood, from the evening lighted wood, from all things outward you have won a tearful grace, as though you stood between the rainbow and the sun. The very smile before you speak that dimples your transparent cheek encircles all the heart and feedeth the senses with a still delight of dainty sorrow without sound, like the tender amber round which the moon about her spreadeth, moving through a fleecy night. 2. You love, remaining peacefully, to hear the murmur of the strife, but enter not the toil of life. Your spirit is the calmed sea, laid by the tumult of the fight. You are the evening star alway, remaining betwixt dark and bright. Lulled echoes of laborious day come to you, gleams of mellow light float by you on the verge of night. 3. What can it matter, Margaret? What songs below the waning stars the lion-heart Plantagenet sang looking through his prison bars? Exquisite Margaret, who can tell the last wild thought of Châtelet, just ere the falling axe did part the burning brain from the true heart, even in her sight he loved so well? 4. A fairy shield your genius made, and gave you on your natal day. Your sorrow, only sorrow's shade, keeps real sorrow far away. You move not in such solitudes, you are not less divine, but more human in your moods than your twin sister, Adeline. Your hair is darker, and your eyes, touched with what a somewhat darker blue, and less aerial blue, but ever trembling through the dew of dainty woeful sympathies. 5. O sweet, pale Margaret, O rare, pale Margaret, come down, and hear me speak. Tie up the ringlets on your cheek. The sun is just about to set. The arching limes are tall and shady, and fair, rainy lights are seen moving in the levee beach. Rise from the feast of sorrow, lady, where all day long you sit between joy and woe, and whisper each. Or only look across the lawn. Look out below your bower eaves. Look down, and let your blue eyes dawn upon me through the jasmine leaves. Rosalind. 1. My Rosalind, my frolic falcon with bright eyes, whose free delight from any height of rapid flight stoops at all game that wing the skies. My Rosalind, my bright-eyed, wild-eyed falcon, whither, careless both of wind and weather, whither fly ye, what game spy ye, up or down the streaming wind? 2. The quick lark's closest caroled strains, the shadow rushing up the sea, the lightning flash atween the reins, the sunlight driving down the lea, the leaping stream, the very wind that will not stay upon his way to stoop the cowslip to the plains, is not so clear and bold and free, as you, my falcon Rosalind. You care not for another's pains, because you are the soul of joy, bright metal, all without alloy. Life shoots and glances through your veins, and flashes off 1,000 ways, through lips and eyes and subtle ways. Your hawk eyes are keen and bright, keen with triumph, watching still to pierce me through with pointed light. But oftentimes they flash and glitter, like sunshine on a dancing rill, and your words are seeming bitter, sharp and few, but seeming bitter from excess of swift delight. 3. Come down. Come home, my Rosalind, my gay young hawk, my Rosalind. Too long you keep the upper skies, too long you roam and wheel at will, but we must hood your random eyes that care not whom they kill. And your cheek, whose brilliant hue is so sparkling fresh to view, some red heath flower in the dew touched with sunrise, we must bind, and keep you fast, my Rosalind. Fast, fast, my wild-eye Rosalind, and clip your wings and make you love, when we have lured you from above. And that delight of frolic flight, by day or night, from north to south, will bind you fast in silken cords, and kiss away the bitter words from off your rosy mouth. Eleanor. 1. Thy dark eyes opened not, nor first revealed themselves to English air, for there is nothing here which from the outward to the inward brought moulded thy baby thought. Far off from human neighborhood, thou wert born on a summer morn, a mile beneath the cedar wood. Thy bounteous forehead was not fanned with breezes from our oaken glades, but thou wert nursed in some delicious land of lavish lights and floating shades. And flattering thy childish thought, the oriental fairy brought, at the moment of thy birth, from old well heads of haunted hills, and the hearts of purple hills, and shadowy coves on a sunny shore, the choicest wealth of all the earth, jewel or shell, or starry ore, to deck thy cradle, Eleanor. 2. Or the yellow-banded bees, through half-open lattices, coming in the scented breeze, feed thee, a child lying alone, with whitest honey in fairy gardens cold. A glorious child dreaming alone, in silk-soft folds upon yielding down, with the hum of swarming bees, into dreamful slumber lulled. 3. Who may minister to thee? Summer herself should minister to thee with fruitage golden rinded, on golden salvers. Or it may be young autumn in a bower, grape thickened from the lights and blinded, with many a deep-hued bell-like flower of fragrant trailers, when the air sleepeth over all the heaven. And the crag that fronts the even, all along the shadowing shore, crimsons over an inland mere, Eleanor. 4. How many full-sailed verse express, how may measured words adore, the full-flowing harmony of thy swan-like stateliness, Eleanor, the luxuriant symmetry of thy floating gracefulness, Eleanor, every turn and glance of thine, every lineament divine, Eleanor, and the steady sunset glow that stays upon thee, for in thee is nothing sudden, nothing single, like two streams of incense free, from one censer in one shrine, through thought and motion mingle ever. Motions flow to one another, even as though they were modulated so to an unheard melody, which lives about thee, and a sweep of richest pauses. Evermore, drawn from each other mellow deep, who may express thee, Eleanor? 5. I stand before thee, Eleanor. I see thy beauty gradually unfold, daily and hourly more and more. I muse as in a trance the while slowly, as from a cloud of gold comes out thy deep, ambrosial smile. I muse as in a trance whene'er the languors of thy love-deep eyes float on me. I would I were so entranced, so wrapped in ecstasies, to stand apart and to adore, gazing on thee forevermore. Serene, imperial Eleanor. 6. Sometimes, with most intensity gazing, I seem to see thought folded over thought, smiling asleep. Slowly awaken, grow so full and deep in thy large eyes that, overpowered quite, I cannot veil or droop my sight, but am as nothing in its light. As though a star in inmost heaven set, even while we gaze on it, should slowly round his orb and slowly grow to a full face that like a sun remain fixed, then as slowly fade again, and draw itself to what it was before. So full, so deep, so slow, thought seems to come and go in thy large eyes, Imperior Eleanor. 7. As thunder clouds that hung on high roofed the world with doubt and fear, floating through an evening atmosphere, grow golden all about the sky. In thee all passion becomes passionless, touched by thy spirit's mellowness, losing his fire and active might in a silent meditation, falling into a still delight and luxury of contemplation. As waves that up a quiet cove, rolling slide and lying still, shadow forth the banks at will, or sometimes they swell and move, press up against the land with motions of the outer sea, and the self-same influence controlleth all the soul and sense of passion, gazing upon thee. His bowstring slackened, languid love, leaning his cheek upon his hand, droops both his wings regarding thee, and so would languish evermore. Serene, imperial Eleanor. 8. But when I see thee roam with tresses unconfined, while the amorous, odorous wind breathes low between the sunset and the moon, or in a shadowy saloon on silken cushions half reclined, I watch thy grace, and in its place my heart a charmed slumber keeps, while I muse upon thy face. A languid fire creeps through my veins to all my frame, dissolvingly and slowly, soon, from thy rose-red lips my name floweth, and then as in a swoon, with dying sound my ears are rife, my tremulous tongue faltereth. I lose my colour, I lose my breath, I drink the cup of a costly death, brimmed with delirious draughts of warmest life. I die with my delight before, I hear what I would hear from thee, yet tell me my name again to me. I would be dying evermore, so dying ever. Eleanor. Kate. I know her by her angry air, her bright black eyes, her bright black hair. Her rapid laughter is wild and shrill, as laughters of the woodpecker from the bosom of a hill. 'Tis Kate, she saith what she will, for Kate hath an unbridled tongue, clear as the twanging of a harp. Her heart is like a throbbing star. Kate hath a spirit ever strung, like a new bow, and bright and sharp as edges of the scimitar. Whence shall she find a fitting mate? For Kate no common love will feel, my woman soldier, gallant Kate, as pure and true as blades of steel. Kate saith the world is void of might. Kate saith the men are gilded flies. Kate snaps her fingers at my vows. Kate will not hear of lovers' sighs. I would I were an armed knight, far famed for well-won enterprise, and wearing on my swarthy brows the garland of new-wreathed emprise. For in a moment I would pierce the blackest files of clanging fight, and strongly strike to left and right in dreaming of my lady's eyes. O Kate, Kate loves well the bold and fierce, but none are bold enough for Kate. She cannot find a fitting mate. My life is full of weary days. 1. My life is full of weary days, but good things have not kept aloof, nor wandered into other ways. I had not lacked thy mild reproof, nor golden largus of thy praise. And now shake hands across the brink of that deep grave to which I go. Shake hands once more, I cannot sink so far, far down, but I shall know thy voice and answer from below. 2. When in the darkness over me the four-handed mole shall scrape, plant thou no dusky cypress tree, nor wreath thy cap with doleful crape, but pledge me in the flowing grape. And when the sappy field and wood grow green beneath the showery grey, and rugged barks begin to bud, and through damp holes new flushed with May ring sudden scritches of the jay, then let wise nature work her will, and on my clay her darnel grow. Come only when the days are still, and at my headstone whisper low, and tell me if the woodbines blow. Early Sonnets. 1. 2. As when with downcast eyes we muse and brood, and ebb into a former life, or seem to lapse far back in some confused dream, to states of mystical similitude. If one but speaks, or hems, or stirs his chair, ever the wonder waxeth more and more, so that we say, all that hath been before, all that hath been, I know not when or where. So, friend, when first I looked upon your face, our thoughts gave answer each to each, so true, opposed mirrors each facing each, that though I knew not in what time or place, methought that I had often met with you, and either lived in either's heart and speech. 2. To J.M.K. My hope and heart is with thee, thou wilt be a latter Luther and a soldier priest. To scare church harpies from the master's feast, our dusted velvets have much need of thee. Thou art no Sabbath drawer of old saws, distilled from some worm-cankered homily, but spurred at heart with fieriest energy, to embatail and to wall about thy cause. With iron-worded proof, hating to hark the humming of the drowsy pulpit drone. Have God's good Sabbath, while the worn-out clerk browbeats his desk below, thou from a throne, mounted in heaven, wilt shoot into the dark arrows of lightning. I will stand and mark. 3. Mine be the strength of spirit full and free, like some broad river rushing down alone, with the self-same impulse whereupon he was thrown from his loud fount upon the echoing lea, which with increasing might doth forward flee, by town and tower and hill and cape and isle, and in the middle of the green salt sea keep his blue waters fresh for many a mile. Mine be the power which ever to it sway, will win the wise at once, and by degrees may into uncongealed spirits flow, even as warm Gulf Stream of Florida floats far away into the northern seas, the lavish growths of southern Mexico. 4. Alexander. Warrior god, whose strong right arm debased the throne of Persia when her satrap bled, at Isius by the Syrian gates o'erfled, beyond the Memmian naphtha pits disgraced, forever thee thy pathway sand erased, gliding with equal crowns 2 serpents led, joyful to that palm-planted fountain fed. Ammonian oasis in the waste, there In a silent shade of laurel brown, apart the Shamian oracle divine sheltered his unapproached mysteries. High things were spoken there, unhanded down. Only they saw thee from the secret shrine, returning with hot cheeks and kindled eyes. 5. Bonaparte. He thought to quell the stubborn hearts of oak, madman, to chain with chains and bind with bands that island queen who sways the flood and lands, but in fair daylight woke. From when her wooden walls, lit by sure hands, with thunders and with lightnings and with smoke, peal after peal the British battle broke, lulling the brine against the Coptic sands. We taught him lowlier moods when Elsinore heard the war moan along the distant sea. Rocking with shattered spars, with sudden fires, flamed over at Trafalgar yet once more we taught him. Late he learned humility, perforce like those whom Gideon schooled with briars. 6. Poland. How long, O God, shall men be ridden down, and trampled under by the last and least of men? The heart of Poland hath not ceased to quiver, though her sacred blood doth drown the fields, and out of every smouldering town cries to thee, lest brute power be increased, till that o'ergrown barbarian in the east transgress his ample bound to some new crown. Cries to thee, Lord, how long shall these things be? How long this icy-hearted Muscovite oppress the region? Us, O just and good, forgive, who smiled when she was torn in three. Us, who stand now when we should aid the right. A matter to be wept with tears of blood. 7. Caressed o'er children by the slender hand, and singing airy trifles this and that. Light hope at beauty's call would perch and stand, and run through every change of sharp and flat. And fancy came, and at her pillow sat, when sleep had bound her in his rosy band, and chased away the still recurring gnat, and woke her with a lay from fairyland. But now they live with beauty less and less, for hope is other hope and wanders far, nor cares to lisp in love's delicious creeds. And fancy watches in the wilderness, poor fancy, sadder than a single star that sets at twilight in a land of reeds. 8. The form alone is eloquent. A nobler yearning never broke her rest, than but to dance and sing, be gaily dressed, and win all eyes with all accomplishment. Yet in the whirling dances as we went, my fancy made me for a moment blessed to find my heart so near the beauteous breast that once had power to rob it of content. A moment came, the tenderness of tears, the phantom of a wish that once could move, a ghost of passion that no smiles restore. For the slight coquette she cannot love, and if you kissed her feet 1,000 years, she still would take the praise and care no more. 9. Land sculptor, weepest thou to take the cast of those dead lineaments that near thee lie? O sorrowest thou, pale painter, for the past, in painting some dead friend from memory? Weep on. Beyond his object love can last. His object lives. More cause to weep have I. My tears, no tears of love, are flowing fast, no tears of love, but tears that love can die. I pledge her not in any cheerful cup, nor care to sit beside her where she sits. Ah, pity, hint it not in human tones, but breathe it into earth and close it up, with secret death forever in the pits which some green Christmas crams with weary bones. 10. If I were loved, as I desire to be, what is there in the great sphere of the earth and range of evil between death and birth that I should fear, if I were loved by thee? all the inner, all the outer world of pain. Clear love would pierce and cleave, if thou wert mine. As I have heard that, somewhere in the main, fresh-water springs come up through bitter brine. 'Twere joy, not fear, clasped hand in hand with thee, to wait for death, mute, careless of all ills. Apart upon a mountain, though the surge of some new deluge from 1,000 hills flung leagues of roaring foam into the gorge below us, as far on as eye could see. The Bridesmaid. O bridesmaid, ere the happy knot was tied, thine eyes so wept that they could hardly see. Thy sister smiled and said, "No tears for me! A happy bridesmaid makes a happy bride." And then the couple standing side by side, love lighted down between them full of glee, and over his left shoulder laughed at thee, "O happy bridesmaid, make a happy bride." And all at once a pleasant truth I learned, for while the tender service made thee weep, I loved thee, for the tear thou couldst not hide, and pressed thy hand, and knew the pressed returned, and thought, my life is sick of single sleep. O happy bridesmaid, make a happy bride. And that is the end of Alfred Lord Tennyson's Juvenilia. I hope you liked it. I have the entirety of his collections of works in my hand, so perhaps we'll get a little bit more into Tennyson as the months go by. Please consider following, subscribing, every sort of thing that your social media uses. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I hope to have you back in Brendan Moir's Playwright Corner. Thank you.